Hey guys, welcome back to another What's for Dinner video. Today I've got some really simple dinner ideas for you. Some are not necessarily like new recipes, some are. Some things I think I just kind of made up on the fly, using leftovers, using what we had on hand, but they're quick and simple, easy dinner ideas, and so I thought I would share them with you.
Okay, so for this first dinner, we're going super easy, something we don't actually have very often. I guess it's just like a baked pasta, baked ziti, but it's not ziti, it's shells. But I also just made a smaller batch just because I didn't want us to be eating it all week since there's just two of us. So I just cooked up some shells and mixed in about half a container of ricotta cheese. And then I'm going to stir in this Parmesan and Romano cheese, but you can just use Parmesan. Probably about, I don't know, maybe a quarter cup. I don't actually follow a recipe for this, but if you're going to do like a full pound of pasta, I would definitely use the whole container of ricotta cheese. You can also use cottage cheese, but I always use ricotta. And then I'm just using some jarred sauce, so I decided to add a little bit more seasoning here. Normally I would doctor up the sauce, but I didn't want to dirty a separate dish. So I'm just adding in some garlic powder, some onion powder, and some Italian seasoning. The little holes on this shaker were like really small and the seasoning wasn't really coming out, so I had to take the cap off. And then I am still using a 9x13 dish, but it's just not going to be filled up as high as if I was making a full batch. So I ended up with 2 jars of marinara. We use this marinara from Aldi. I had 2 jars with not much missing in it open in the refrigerator. I don't know how that happened. So that was part of my motivation for making this dinner. So I just put I greased my dish, put a little bit of sauce at the bottom, add in our pasta and cheese mixture, adding in a little bit more Parmesan and Romano cheese because I like it. And then we're just going to add on a little bit more sauce to top it off. And that is, and then we're going to top it with some shredded mozzarella. Almost forgot that. Not sure how you can do that, but that is it. And then we're going to put it in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. And then I just made up a very simple side salad to go with this, just using what we had on hand, which I think was lettuce, carrots, and tomato, and some cheese. And look at all of that cheesy goodness. So delicious. And then we also enjoyed a little Andy's candy mint, just like you do at the Olive Garden. So for this next dinner, we're making a ground beef and sweet potato skillet. Very quick and easy to put together. I'm going to start by browning up 1 pound of ground beef. We have very lean ground beef, so I just put some avocado oil in there to grease my pan, and we're just going to brown that until it is fully cooked. I also decided to add in a half of an onion that I had in the refrigerator, and so that's not in the recipe, but I just added that in and cooked that up with my ground beef. Once the meat is browned up, I'm just adding in 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of dried basil, 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon, well, the recipe calls for half a teaspoon of black pepper, which I did not use because I don't like to cook with black pepper, just personally, and then a half a teaspoon of onion powder, and then 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, and just stir that around for about a minute until the garlic has kind of been cooked in there a little bit. And then we are going to remove this mixture from the pan. So I just moved that over to a bowl, kind of wiped out the pan. I did not actually like wash it or anything like that because you don't really need to. And now I'm just adding in a little bit of olive oil, and we're going to put in our diced sweet potatoes and carrots. So I have about 2 cups of carrots and 2 cups of sweet potatoes, just cut up nice and small. And you're going to start getting these cooked up. I think I'm just kind of scraping the bottom a little bit, get those little bits off from the ground beef. And now we're going to season our vegetables. So I'm adding in about a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of chili powder. The recipe called for a half a teaspoon of ground ginger, but I wasn't totally sure about that. So I did not do that. I'm not saying it wouldn't be good, but we did not do that. And then a half a teaspoon of onion powder and a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. And so we're just going to stir that around and let that cook. I'm adding in just a tiny bit of beef broth. We're going to add more in a minute, but I felt like it was just the pan was getting a little too hot and things were sticking. So I just put in a tiny bit of the beef broth to kind of help me scrape off the bottom and Then we have everything nice and cooked. We sauteed those for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're going to reduce heat and add in our 1 cup of beef broth. And I was just once again kind of scraping up the bottom. Then the recipe calls for 1 pound of Brussels sprouts. I decided to do just some frozen green beans and mix that in. So I kind of laid the green beans out, put our meat mixture back on top, and just kind of let the green beans cook along with finishing up anything that might need to be done for the carrots and sweet potatoes. I put the lid on for a few minutes. Like I said, let everything cook through, and then gave everything a stir. And this was really, really good, super quick and easy. And of course, you could change it up based on your preference for like even the meat. I'm sure you could do ground sausage or ground turkey, different veggies. And I decided to serve mine topped with cheese just because I feel like everything's better with a little cheese.
All right, so for tonight's dinner, we're kind of having quesadilla calzone type things. We're gonna do tortillas. Mine's got some bacon, some marinara. We're using up some stuff in the fridge. We've got a little bit of, well, about half a container of ricotta cheese, some mozzarella, and then I'm also gonna have ham in mine. Jesse's probably gonna do pepperoni and pepper jack. And yeah, so that's what we're doing. And he is the chef for tonight because quesadillas is his territory in this household.
So.
He's got a system and it works, so I just kind of let him do his thing. All right, here it is coming along. The ricotta is on, which is like pretty much the best part, so.
Made sure she had quite a bit.
Did you save any for you?
A little bit.
This is gonna be so good. Like, I'm really excited about this.
All right.
Got the flip. He usually nails it. Oh, that's not too bad.
Not too bad, that's not too bad.
It's a little messier when we add the sauce in.
No, gravity takes over.
I mean, looks pretty good to me. All right, second one is up. We got some marinara and some bacon and some mozzarella. He decided to forego the pepper jack and just do mozzarella. Strategically placed pepperoni slices to be evenly distributed throughout this quesadilla. Removing the pan from heat so that it doesn't cook too quickly while he is assembling everything. I figured that last one was gonna just end up in your mouth. I don't know if I showed mine. This is mine all done. Came out really nice, even though it was a little trouble in the flip, but it worked out just fine. I'm just letting it cool for a moment so that it doesn't fall apart when I cut into it. Adding on a little bit of ham, and that'll be it for this one. Maybe a little more cheese.
Yeah.
Gotta have
hold the ends.
Yeah. Make sure it all sticks together. Good way to use up some leftovers. So for tonight's dinner, we're gonna start off with some sweet potatoes. I just cleaned them, stabbed them with a fork to create some holes, put them on a greased baking sheet, and we're gonna pop them in the oven at 350. I'm gonna start out for 30 minutes, and then I will probably flip them and do another 30 minutes or so. It might not take quite that long because they're not like super huge. And then once they're about halfway done, we'll get the rest of dinner going. So I'm actually gonna bump the temperature up to 400 degrees because I don't wanna wait that long to eat. All right, and we're keeping dinner super simple tonight. I got a rotisserie chicken while I was out at the store. I just transferred it to this. I'm about to flip my potatoes and then pop this chicken in as well to heat up. I'll probably put the foil back on it just so it doesn't dry out. Then for our veggie, I'm keeping it super simple, and I just have, whoops, a bag of frozen broccoli. We're gonna just put a little bit, just need to empty that drain there, a little bit of water, and steam these up on the stove for a super, super quick, but delicious and pretty healthy dinner. All right, here it is, super easy dinner. Walmart rotisserie chicken, baked sweet potatoes with a little butter and brown sugar, and some steamed broccoli. That's what's for dinner tonight. All right, well, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up because that helps me out so much. If you are new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing before you leave. And don't forget to make sure your notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out on my future videos. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.